What's up everyone, it's Scotty with Money Investing. In this video, I wanted to talk about one company, one stock that we don't talk about enough, and they are going to be reporting earnings next week. So I wanted to take the time to kind of analyze this company because it is trading at a really low valuation relative to all the other companies and stocks within its sector. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it helpful. If you do, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're just joining us for the first time, link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. Friendly reminder, the 16% annual discount does expire in 2 days. So at the end of this month, so July 30th and 31st. So a couple more days left. And of course, the options course is currently 50% off. There is going to be a coupon code launch if you want to apply that, and of course take advantage of that as well. Brand new course, and of course the bundle, which is all three courses, fundamental, technical, and options, all available in one single bundle. That's also going to be half off. All these things do expire at the end of this month, so 2 more days left if you want to take advantage and of course save some money. So link's going to be down below if you're interested in joining. So the company that we are talking about today is going to be none other than Qualcomm, and Qualcomm here trading at a little bit under $130. It has been selling off since the beginning of 2022. So at the time it was trading at $180, sold all the way down to low 100, so down over 47%. And year to date, you'll notice Qualcomm is definitely underperforming relative to how well Nvidia, AMD, of course, a super microcomputer. There's been a lot of manufacturing and designers, and of course ASML, not to mention a lot of companies in the semiconductor sector that have done tremendously well, but Qualcomm continues to lag. Only up 16%, and from its lows from back in May, the stock is up a little bit over 25%, but again, it's nothing compared to what other sectors, other stocks in the sector have really done. So Qualcomm definitely does specialize in Internet of Things, so IoT, 3G, 4G, 5G, cellular networks, modems, and of course RF systems, connectivity solutions, GPS systems, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, software. So a lot of these things that, you know, of course, AMD and Nvidia focus more on GPU, cloud services, and of course, processors for computers and phones and whatnot. Qualcomm is in a different space within the same industry, of course, the sector that they belong to. Now, there is a pretty significant moat, and I learned that Qualcomm actually has over 160,000 patents globally, and vast portfolio of patents, which covers a wide range of wireless technologies, and this gives the company a significant competitive advantage as it can charge high royalties on its patents as well, because there is a particular segment of their business called QLT, which is Qualcomm Licensing Technologies, which obviously when they license these patents out, they can charge pretty significant amount of money. And brand obviously is pretty significant for Qualcomm, relationship with major smartphone manufacturers, and of course the scale and size of the company. So it's a well-established company, but again, it has certainly underperformed quite a bit. So if you take a look at the revenues, they have really been stagnant for the last several years up until more recently. Though recently, they have been moving in the right direction. So especially if you consider 2019 from 2020, so like 23 billion to 33 billion to 44 billion. So they have definitely been growing over the last 2 to 3 years. And gross profit also moving in the right direction. So 14 billion, 19 billion, 25 billion, and trailing 12 months, they are lacking a little bit of that growth once again. And operating income has also been growing in the last 3 years, 6 billion, 9 billion, 15 billion. And once again, trailing 12 months, they are once again struggling a little bit this year. This right here is going to be their consistent share buyback. And again, diluted EPS more recently, you'll notice has gone from like 359, 452, 787, 1137. So they have, again, more recently, 3 to 4 years, moving in the right direction and of course growing on a year-over-year basis. And shares outstanding has gone literally down. This is very similar to Apple. 1.7 billion down to 1.1 billion shares outstanding, and of course everything else moving in the right direction more recently. Of course, over the last 9 to 10 years it was pretty stagnant, but then 3 to 4 years they've been moving again in the right direction, moving towards higher revenue growth and of course profitability growth. Now when it comes to margins, we have seen pretty substantial margins here, 56% gross margins, net margins at over 25%, meaning for every $1 in revenue the company generates, 25 cents trickles down to the very bottom line as profit. Return on common equity, very strong. Return on capital, incredibly high at over 24%. And return on assets, also very efficient business at over 21%. Now, this is probably one of the only concerning parts about Qualcomm is that they don't have a phenomenal balance sheet, unlike AMD, Nvidia, Supermicrocomputer, a lot of these companies that have more cash than debt on the balance sheet. Unfortunately, Qualcomm has taken on a lot of debt at almost $16 billion worth of debt, with a little bit over $6.6 billion worth of cash, which does bring their net debt position at a positive $9.3 billion. Current ratio over 2.4, Quick ratio 1.3, so that's pretty good, but debt to free cash flow is over 6. We look for this number under 3, so the balance sheet is definitely going to be a bit more concerning for Qualcomm. Now, valuation is low, and that's, again, a little bit more surprising piece about Qualcomm is that it hasn't really seen a lot of momentum, and for those reasons, the valuation continues to be at 12, 15 times earnings multiple. Price to sales a little bit under 4, price to cash flow at 12 to 16, and of course, we do have enterprise value to EBITDA trading at just around 10 to 11. So you've got a company, in the same semiconductor sector, definitely has not participated in the rallies that we've seen for NVIDIA, AMD, a lot of these other companies, like even Intel, for example, might actually be outperforming, Qualcomm this year. If it is, that would be crazy. So Intel on the year is up a little bit over, 36%. There you go. Intel, a company like Intel is up 36% year to date, and Qualcomm is not. Qualcomm is only up 16%. That just goes to show that we have really seen this company underperform significantly. So if you do Qualcomm divided by SMH, you'll notice, again, a significant amount of underperformance since July of 2022. And again, it hasn't really gone anywhere. Relatively speaking, it is still up on an absolute terms, but again, relatively speaking, a very underperformance, significant underperformance compared to other stocks in this sector. Now, earnings expectations are also pretty modest, I would say, like from 825 to 1111. That's going to be a growth rate of about 10%, 10.5%. So again, that's a little lackluster growth, but again, it's also for the next 3 years, right? So that's really where we are. And then of course, share dilution expected to be negative 4.77%. That's exactly what we have seen over the last 9 years for the company, right? Negative 4.77%. So if we plug in some of these numbers for Qualcomm, there's I think there's room service that's on the door. I'm gonna wait a couple of seconds. Hopefully they don't open the door so I can keep recording. But if they do, then I'll have to pause. Yep, so that was the room service. They got to clean my room, so I got to finish this up in 15 minutes, all right? So I've got less than 5 minutes now. The video is going to be a little bit over 7 minutes, but let's just do this right now. Okay, so going back over to the intrinsic value spreadsheet here. So growth rate, I'm going to plug in 10%. Right now, the valuation's a little bit over 12 times earnings multiple. We're going to keep that intact. Discount rate, I can go a little bit lower because the company does pay a dividend. So if you come over to Qualcomm, they do have a dividend yield of 2.5%, right? So they are a little bit more on the value side. So I can go as low as 10% here on the discount rate. 10% margin of safety, and share dilution is going to be about minus 4.77. We're going to go 4.75. And the fair value is going to be $115 compared to the market price, which is at around $129. And I remember doing an analysis on Qualcomm not too long ago, and this was something that was very similar. So you'll notice that we are, again, only 10% potential downside needed for Qualcomm for it to be trading at an intrinsic value. And I remember doing an analysis, and it was in the low 100s for this company as well. And this is going to be that sensitivity grid. You can kind of see that for yourself, depending on the price to earnings multiple, depending on the growth rate, how that fair value changes for this company. So in terms of the technical analysis, this right here is going to be the resistance that we are now starting to break out of for Qualcomm, and the next target and the resistance is going to be closer to 137. So that's going to be that next level to watch. We're going to go ahead and turn this level into a support for the company, since we are now starting to break outside of that level with some decent volume. So next resistance and target at 137, all the way up to 160 eventually, of course, and support level is going to stay put in the low 100s for this company. So this right here, very strong support, and this is also where I would be looking at potentially dollar cost averaging, maybe even taking a swing trade, or even building up a long-term investing sort of position in this company. But the only concerning factor obviously is the earnings growth and the balance sheet, which is, like I said, it's not the best balance sheet in this sector, in this industry. So that's going to be it. And of course, earnings expectation, $1.80 per share. That's going to be the EPS with revenue just over $8.5 billion. So those right there are going to be a couple things to look forward to for Qualcomm. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about this company? And are you buying, selling, holding? What are your thoughts? As always, if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're just joining us for the first time. Don't forget, 2 more days left for the discount, 16% annual discount available till the end of this month, and the 50% coupon launch available for our options course as well. And that does expire at the end of this month. So 2 more days left. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.